Hello, everyone. Welcome, Linda. How are
Thank
you today?
you. I am awesome. I've had a beautiful
Oh,
day. What about you?
yeah, it's been a good day. I've deliberated, and yeah, too much coffee. Can't complain, really. Um,
Oh,
how's
hey
everyone today?
Tracy. Look at
Welcome to
everyone.
the
Hi
welcome
guys.
to the show. Welcome, Tracy, Sharon, Lee, and Carly. How's everyone? My special guest here tonight is Linda Simpson. She's a transformation. Why don't you tell them? It's easy for you.
It's so funny. I actually am a healer with new energy. That is the simplest way. And you put lots and lots
Yep.
of other words on it because niche marketing and business and all of the, the
Yep.
overlays that you have to take to make your business. But essentially, when I figured it out, the simplicity of it is that when I run with my joy, I heal stuff. And
I like the
that's
sound
it.
of that.
And a lot of my clients and friends just reach out for an etheric hug and feel better because that's the allowing in my field. Yeah. So
Yep.
there's not really marketable words for that, are there?
No, but so you just basically simplified everything.
It's what I've been led to. Um, I just have to be me. And I'm a marketer, like my world is
Yep.
prior, and my business world has been marketing and teaching people marketing. And I'm really good at it. But if I don't believe in something, I can't do it. And I don't really believe in much of the 3D system anymore. So it limits the possibilities. And you just have to come back to your core. And that's
Yeah.
being me.
Yeah. I mean, we could get the conversations we could have just about that. We could get kicked off YouTube straight away. It wouldn't be hard.
I do have a goal to earn money off YouTube as one of my streams of income, but
Yep.
so I
Used
have
to
to
be able
work.
to do that.
Well, yeah, I think now it's getting a bit like, I call it yelling, where you're in a pile of
Yep.
people and everyone's yelling and there's only 5 coins to find, so I just can't be bothered. I just don't do
Yeah.
it. Oh,
I mean,
everyone's chatting.
I
Sorry,
mean,
carry on.
I put it on YouTube so people don't have to be on social media if they want to check the stuff out.
No, I agree. And you kind of, like, I pay this really awesome team of people to learn about
Yep.
doing my YouTube thing, and I learned some really good stuff. But again, I'm in a paddock with a whole heap of people with the same yelling, so I still have to be able to fine tune and use my right search engine optimization
Yep.
in an area where my words don't even come up in SEO. They don't come up because I just want to use words that I just
Yep.
go back a little ways. In 2011, I was guided to create a business called Authentic Me, and that was
Yep.
my way of producing clients and coaching. And no one saw it because authentic wasn't used then. It's 11 years ago. And now authentic is a vibe word, isn't it? It's like a buzzword.
Well,
Be
so
authentic.
what is authentic for the?
Being
What do you?
authentic?
Yeah. Oh, you mean just being authentic? Oh, I thought it was
Yeah.
some hashtag thing.
No, it was the business that, like, when I looked for a business name, that was what was
Yep.
given, if you like. And to put that as a promotion, no one really knew what it meant because no one was being authentic,
Yep.
like in the marketing area in 2011. So it was.
You're like, good one, guys. Thanks for that one.
Can you? And now, even now, like, a guy that I listen to a meditation, he's called himself a transformation mentor. I'm like, whoa. Anyway.
He's with the in crowd now.
Oh, I know. And it's even the advertising uses authentic. If you look at just general ads,
Yep.
they use authentic now. So I don't know, I suppose it's a little hard to know that you're a little ahead of the game, but
Yep.
being ahead isn't it's not the big plus that you think. I'm not whinging about it, but yeah, it's not.
I mean, when I set up when I got my name came to me, and the first thing I do is I do a search, a net search, or do a YouTube search, do a Facebook search, and see what comes up, see what you keep competing, and mine come up always straight away, but it's easy to find. But
isn't it because did you do it on that not on your normal computer? Because if you've already looked, then it'll come up.
Okay.
So you've got to go incognito and go in from that way and see.
Okay.
That's how I. Yeah. But
I'm just DuckDuckGo. That's all I am. That's all I look.
We just do what we do. I was just looking. Hi, Sharon. I'm just reading it. It's interesting with healing.
Yep.
When I have. Did you read, Sharon? I don't know if everyone's seen it. My daughter's a healer, but it doesn't
Sharon.
work on me. And is it because she's too close to me? I find that if I have anything happen to me around my husband, my critters, anyone really close to me, like emotional and really close to me, I'm gone. I have to call a friend. I do the phone a friend trick. I can't.
So, detachment, the holding the space.
And I think it might be a self-sustain. No, I can't find the right word, but a sort of a protection mechanism. Because for Sharon, if your daughter was trying to heal you, that's almost too much. It's maybe whereas she needs to grow, and maybe she's come into your family so that your family is her corral of happy, so she can just be herself there. But yeah, I mean, I download for people. I'm a medium sometimes, a clear, whatever, like there's bits and pieces. But as soon as it's someone I love and there's emotion attached to it, it's gone.
One of my best mates is a phenomenal healer, and they're just, the universe is always showing them new stuff, but as soon as they get like something goes wrong with them, they're like, I suck at healing myself. They give us a call.
And I mean, I do. And sometimes I'm not, I suppose I can say not allowed. I've got to figure it out for myself, but I still can't. It's just annoying. But it is really funny when you're told, I have to tell you about my week. I had a week planned from last Tuesday, and I was picking up some fruit and veg, and I picked up something quite small off the counter. And for the first time in my life, I turned and had a wee twinge in my lumbar. Anyone who's had a wee twinge in their lumbar probably thinks that that's not. Have you hurt your back before?
Yeah, I had my lumbar support from doing manual lifting.
So I'm standing there just with this very small box of goodies, and I just said to the lady, I think I need someone to take this out to the car. Okay, my point is I came home because, I'm a spiritual nut. I came home and took a bit of pill stuff with some water. And then I looked up my book of words. A friend's got a Louise Hay book, and she sent that bit to me, and I read that. But I've been following for many years a lady called Annette Noontal, and she's an Australian who her book is called Your Body is the Barometer of Your Soul, so be your own doctor. And she's just so real. She just says it like it is. And her lumbar part was about look after yourself and don't let other people put you down when you've got new things in your mind that you want to do. Just a whole heap of stuff that was so amazingly relevant. And I thought, did you need for me to hurt my back this bad to get that message? Seriously? So, have you had that happen to you?
I've had a lot of stuff happen, but nothing not an injury that I can. I mean, the synchronicity is the universe doing something to show me, but nothing that stands out at the moment. It'll come to me later.
Well, I aim to not hurt myself. Like that's a very strong. And whenever I have, it's rolled with the flow. But that's been my last week, and all I could do really was either be still for a while or move around for a while.
Yep.
And my point was, I had a full on focused, wonderful week planned, but they had another plan for me, and it was everything shifted. Like
It does that. Yeah, the universe is what happens when you're making other plans. I mean, John Lennon didn't say it similar to that, but
and it does. But what it's done for me, when I was just saying before about new stuff happening and kind of being at the edge of the new.
Yep.
A long time ago, I felt, this is a personal feeling, I felt really alone in that. But there's so many people doing the new now. There's so, from you speaking to people, there's way more of us that it makes my heart feel good to know that there's so many people pulling in the light and shining their light. And it really does. It makes my heart feel good.
It's been great. I've had some people recently, and they've been right. I've been working on this. I've been working on that, and I'm like, how long since you've woken up and you started realizing and doing all this stuff? And they're like 3 weeks. And I'm like, damn, it took me years to get to there.
but we do what we do. I mean, I'm think back. I'm a Kiwi, and we moved to Australia when I was 30, and that was a real major shift for me. We ended up landscaping, and I had my hands in the ground, and so there was a lot of grounding and shifting. But before that, life was very flowing. Nothing hard happened to me. I mean, a few financial hardships, but nothing.
Yeah.
You hear people having these catastrophic things happen, and I'm like, I really like the story that I wrote for myself.
Yep.
And then arriving here, it's unwrapped. My world has unwrapped, and I haven't had any, like I say, no catastrophic moments. There's been moments where I yelled at the team and said, like, for goodness sake, can we shift whatever it is that's stopping me? But that's just hissy fit time. It's not really. And then I've grown so much. And then when I put my faith into my skill box, everything just opens up. And now is definitely an opening up time. If any of you guys in the chat watching this later are thinking about doing something, buddy, just take a step. Just take a step.
I noticed that. I noticed that some of the hard things that I go through, I don't even half notice because I know not to focus on them now. So I can see someone else stressing over something and stressing about it. And if I really look at it, I guess I got some stuff. I got plenty of stuff to stress out, but I just don't. I've just learned not to focus on that.
Not focus
and give it energy.
The energy, and when you learn, I think everyone got a little bit bored with people saying the law of attraction.
Yeah.
But where you put your energy is where it flows. Actually, can I tell you a quick skill that I teach and share regularly? I was just looking at what Carly said. You shifted it. Oh, good on you. Yes, Carly. Shifting a blockage is amazing. I actually do a lot of timeline work.
Yep.
And I'm about, so this is 2 subjects. Don't let me forget the first one. So I recently got accepted. I recently got accepted to share meditations on Insight Timer, which was really cool. And so I'm building I've got so many meditations to share. I just thought, well, that's such a perfect place. But the one I'm growing next is healing the timeline so that people can actually sit in that as a meditation and use that skill. But the one that we were talking about before was how to get rid of crappy thoughts. And it's so easy. It is if you just, I'm not going to close my eyes, but you just close your eyes.
I just saw a heap of people watching with their arms crossed like, easy.
So for me, it's always off to the left. I see my brain, and my brain's like this manic person in an office figuring out what it's going to do next and bashing away on the computer. So a thought from there, a ucky thought, you just take it from there and fly it over a rainbow and land it in a love bubble box, in a box that belongs to love for you.
Yep.
And it's that simple. It's the choice to acknowledge that you've got a thought that, the busy brain, the mouse on the wall, whatever descriptor you want to use.
Yep.
Just put it in love and use it for positives as well. Like if you want something to grow into, like, you've got a dream and a goal and it's beginning. Well, don't just keep that positive as it is. Actually pop it into the box so it can grow. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah,
sort of.
But
So,
I mean, a friend in Tassie, she uses her kind of like the washing. She's got multi-washing here, so she flies it over and she puts it in the clean wash basket. So it's just about acknowledging your crappy thought, really.
Yeah, well, I someone said something to me, and I'm not sure where I picked it up, but when I get those crappy thoughts, because I live near the beach, you know how the little waves, they just come up the beach and then and then they go out. I just think of it like that. As soon as I get a crappy thought, I'm like, okay, I picture the wave coming up. Okay, in, acknowledge it, back out.
It's a beautiful one, isn't it?
And it makes it, when you got something, it's amazing how something little like that, because it just occupies your mind. So you haven't just got that thought, oh, how do I push out that thought? You go, okay, you change it else.
You can't.
It makes it so much easier.
It does, but I think actually switching another area that you can use is it's one that Esther Hicks taught, is the 17-second rule. Have you seen that one? So
I think Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time. It's so simple. It's again, you just focus on, so as soon as you know that thought's there, pushing it away is sometimes impractical. Like you can't make it go away. It's like an earworm, isn't it? It won't go away.
Yeah.
So instead, you just shift your perspective to something that makes you smile or makes you feel happy. Or, I mean, for me, during the day, my window is just above. And I have helped so many people by just sitting them down and having them actually focus on a really dumb thought that annoys them, and then have them lift their gaze to where my garden's growing something, or, anything. Yeah. But there's no fight involved. You've just shifted from being annoyed to smiling. And that's a bit like a love virus. It edges, it takes away the harshness of the yucky thought. So, yeah.
I forgot. Now you've reminded me. I remember that totally. Because that's the only thing you can do when you got that negative energy, or if you're an empath and you're picking up someone's energy. Yeah. You can try to push it out, but you've got to think of something happy for a certain period of time and forcibly change that emotion.
You can. And if anyone's looking, Esther's got it up on Facebook. No, YouTube. It's the 17-second rule, and it's under Abraham Hicks. So, but it's just so simple. And I mean, these are some of the things that it is. It's to choose. I'm going to lecture. To choose joy is the key. Like, that's it to me. Like, I am a bit lucky that I wrote myself a story of being a happy person, and the rose-colored glasses and the half-full cup and all that. But aiming for that a little bit more in life is what makes it better. And, when you've had hard stuff, we have had hard stuff, Michael and I. We've had hard stuff happen in life, and you just don't focus on it.
Exactly. Like if I just had a thought of, say, someone was at hospital near the beach or something, they had a cast on their arm. There'll be one person that will go out onto the balcony, look at the beach and go, oh, stinking, that sucks. I can't go in the water. I've got a cast on my arm. And the other person with the cast on will come out and go, look at that air, smell that beach. Look at it. Look at that sun, And one person's happy, one person's not in the same situation.
And it's the same everywhere. And I mean, there's people who stare at me. I've had people who think I'm on marijuana because I am consistently happy. And like, No, I'm not always happy, but to me, it's that inner happiness that creates my clear connection to source. It's, I don't know, there's no load on me. There's no hard load on my heart. And so for that means that my channel's clear. And
Yeah.
I think that that means I pretty much, when I'm working with someone, I pretty much channel work. Like, it's not like I don't connect. I just am connected.
Yep.
And
I know what you mean.
yeah, so yeah, and even every now and then I'll just make sure my skill has been sharpened by doing a set of live readings on Facebook or something like that, and just grab some cards and do that. And it's just, yeah, it's not like I know everything. I think people know that now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, some people, I was somewhere in Facebook and someone said, do you trust psychics? And I'm like, oh, for goodness sake. Like, seriously, they're a connection to source. So do you trust your source? Of course you do. So, yeah.
I was just thinking of someone, a medium, and they were a friend of mine, and they told me that I was claircognizant. So when they disagreed with me with something, I said, hey, you can't, man, I'm claircognizant. You were the one that said it.
But do you think, with all the people that you meet, do you think now that we almost have a little bit of all of the clairs in us, like that we're
Absolutely.
not? Yeah,
absolutely.
We're not so designated anymore. Because sometimes, Sorry,
I mean, it's sort of like you can, as like people train in certain ones, and because people come to me and go, I'm this, I'm that. I'm going, well, you're a lot of things. It's up to you what you want to train. They'll present themselves in strengths and weaknesses all over the place. But I know what you mean. There's a certain things, and someone teaches it one way, someone teaches it another way, and then when it comes out and someone says you're already doing it, and you're going, well, I was doing something else. But as you say, there's a lot of it that sort of can roll off into
other things.
Into other things.
And when you open the door, a long time ago, when I really first started doing coaching, if you like, because I'd been doing business coaching, and then I decided that I would shift over. I called it life coaching. It was before everyone had to pay for a coaching certificate. So I'll just tell you now, I don't have any certificates. I don't really believe in them. I'm a rebel. And I had a really lovely client base build up, and I always had a flow of people.
Yep.
But the way, so somebody would book, and it was more before digital, so they would book and I would be driving to see them or meet them somewhere, and their guidance would come into my head. I'd be in the car driving, and their guidance would be in my head about something, like they'd be dropping information in. Or I remember going to see a Hungarian lady, and all the way, all I could hear was like this big party of Hungarian people. It was loud. It was raucous. There was voices everywhere. And when I got there, she's like, oh, she knew straight away that it was her guidance, because that was in her heart. She just knew. And from there, I went into sometimes a being would kind of overlay me. So they would see more their spirit guide. That's happened. Automatic writing. I don't know, it rolled on whatever was needed to be presented probably to my client so that they believed. That probably makes more sense, doesn't it? Because,
well, it's funny. Like, I was doing some research, and I was making a talisman, and I make shamanic. I make enchanted medicine pouches, and all sorts of things like mediumship, self-love. I do a psychic defense one, which for anxiety, and empaths put it on, and it can clear energy, and that's sort of a mixture of a lot of things, and healing and channeling energy. And I just sort of fell into it, just trying to do. And it's just funny how you just sort of fall into things, and then you take bits and pieces from everywhere, and it's sort of all one and the same.
And I think, and I just got a clue on that for you as well, I think our past, not this life past, but the collective past, when you do something, especially when you're putting your magic into your talismans, like you're wending the magic of all of you, of the greater you, aren't you,
Yeah.
into that. So they're actually taking the magic of the whole you.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I know that the things I've learnt that are meant to be part of me have fallen in really easily.
Yeah.
Just so, like when I went to learn EFT, to just add something to what I was doing, it was like boom, I got it, and boom for kinesiology, and boom for all of the things
Yep.
that I've learned. It's like I knew it before. And
I know. It's
yeah,
like you sort of think what, and you'll be doing something, and then your mind will go over here, and I'll go like, why that? Or I'll go to buy a crystal, and I'll be like, oh, I want that for myself. And then I'll get it home, and I'll be doing some research, and I go, damn, that's for someone else.
They don't belong. They don't belong. Mine come through. People have no idea. I just gift them. But no, I just look at how we're meant to be here, and we've so stepped out of the structure of three-dimensional living that, and the more you do you find the more you step out of it, the more you're able to flow through it and do your work. I feel like I'm floating across the top of three-dimensionality.
Sometimes I feel like it's too easy, and I'm waiting for it to get harder.
Yeah, and it won't. Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, I'm used to struggling. Why is everything just flowing so easily? I mean, I don't try to jinx it.
No.
But you get a reading and someone says a tower card, and you're like, okay. And then, as you say, it's where your focus is. The tower card happens, and it comes.
It's
and it passes,
new.
You're like, whatever.
Yeah. No, when I get the tower card, I go, yeah, something new.
It's something new.
But then,
and you,
yeah.
Then you don't. Well, if it's a tower moment, you don't have to do anything. It's going to happen. It's just going
to happen.
Yeah, like an opportunity.
Like what got us to Australia was a tower moment. I had been working for someone, and he was a little weaselly worm and sexually oriented in the office towards his female staff, and I got really sick of it. So I flicked it off, and without enough funds, we opened a shop and we closed it. We didn't go bankrupt, we closed it, but it was an emotional choice. And we sort of decided through all of that horror of paying back all that money and, the struggle we just decided that when we sold the house, we were coming to Australia kind of thing. It was just one of those. It was hilarious. And we got here, and ever since it's been like, we've been away from the pressures of family, strong religious backgrounds on both sides, and free enough to be ourselves. And the flow from that tower moment to here has been just right. Whereas if we had chosen to stay and struggle and chosen to stay in New Zealand, not that New Zealand's bad, it was just us to choose to move. If we'd chosen to stay there because it was home, because we knew it, because we didn't want change, we would have just been, I think our relationship would have been stuffed for a start. So that to me is change. And
absolutely. Because you know what it's like to get stuck in ruts. People spend, and you see people going through the same stuff year after year. You must be able to look around and see people that are still going through the same lesson as they did like 50 years ago, 70 years ago. And it's just like, my God, you can't say nothing.
No, you can't, because it's their place. That's what they do. And we choose. I'm not sure that Michael always chooses change, but, he gets change because he's with me. But another pivotal moment we had, not that it was a horrible moment, it was just neither of us were happy. My dad had died. Oh, actually, can I sidetrack to that? That was just
absolutely
awesome. So people that you love dying and critters that you love dying offer such an opportunity to understand beyond and to allow them to leave. And my dad chose a really painful way to leave the planet. He chose pancreatic cancer. And I was, my siblings and I, we all took turns nursing him. So he stayed at home for a really long time. It was only spent the last week in a hospice. And I actually was with him when he died. And it was so pivotal for me because I met the people that came to take him away. I felt their energy and I knew who they were, even though I hadn't kind of known who would be there. And that was the first for me. It's different when a puppy dog dies because the mass of the dogs take them away. It's not like something specific. But when Dad died, yeah, really close in family and from both Mum and Dad's side came to take him away. So for me, that was like a big shift. I didn't know what to do after that, had not a clue, couldn't settle. And so we being me, uprooted our family. we drove across the other side of Australia. I don't know, if you're not Australians, that's like about, I don't know how many miles. It's like 6, maybe 5,000 kilometres, or that's a lot. It's a really long way. And it set us on a path of 5 years of managing accommodation, like tourist parks and stuff like that. And I just met some amazing spiritual people that, again, just clicked me on in my spirituality. I connected with spiritual elders of the Aboriginal tribe, not earthly based ones that were looking after areas. And it was just magical. And coming all the way back to here and now understanding that the planes are just planes. They're not, it's not horrible for someone to leave. It's done. And when you know that, when you see that, like, you'll miss them in your heart, but it's like they've gone on holiday. You can't wish that away for them, can you?
Well, yeah, I mean, a few months ago, my father passed, and lucky being spiritual and understanding, I just, every time I'd think of it and I'd get sad, I would just think of him being a goof. I would think of him being a wally or something that was really nice, and then I'd laugh and I'd remember that emotion and it'd be a happy emotion. But and I remember, but I let go of that attachment to them not being around. It wasn't an issue, and as I just focused on the memories, I mean, that's all we have when they're not right next to us anyway. We have those memories.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So to me, it was like how you hear the old monks and all that. They say we should celebrate the dead, and I started to realize that that now that he's closer than he's ever been before. I'm closer to him,
and he can. Does he speak to you? Like, do you not speak?
Not that often.
Does he? I mean, Dad's been gone a long time now. Oh, that's the thing I've got to say out loud. It's so funny because Dad was a brass bandsman and he conducted a brass band. And when I was looking after him, because he was like really, really sick towards the end, and we'd go through all of the effort of getting him bathed and back into bed, and then I'd let him go to sleep. I'd go up to the lounge and I'd put on the massed brass bands on full volume so that they'd get down to the back bedroom. And then I'd leave the house and go for a walk. Anyway, so I really don't care about mass brass bands, especially not loud. But I was over in Fremantle when we were traveling and there was a brass band and I was slammed, man. It was just like Dad was right there. And ever since then, if he wants to tap me on the shoulder and say, stop thinking about that, or, shift your focus, he'll stick a band march in my head. Like a big earworm band march. And I'm like, oh. And then after a while you go, Dad, really? And then I'll get it that he's the person that day that's just going, shift your perspective, have a look somewhere different. So they do, but then Mum just left. She's not here. I I don't see her. But Dad's obviously part of my backing team, so he it's kind of cool. Hey, but where are you? How many of you guys, I'm just reading the chat while I'm here. How many of you guys have had a companion animal pass over, or die, however you want to say it? Say, if you've got a story, tell us. So so many people find it hard when their critters die. Have you had a critter die on you? Have you had a pet die?
Yeah.
And were you there for them?
Yeah. I had a dog and he had cancer, so I had to hold him while he had the injection.
Yeah.
He was stopped eating.
And it's like a gift, isn't it, to be able to, I'd like to do that for human friends.
It was nice to be there.
Yeah. But I've had some really beautiful experiences of animals going. At one stage, I got to tell you, I get excited when I learn a new skill, and I think I'm going to this is going to be it. This is going to be my skill. I'm going to be famous at this, or I'm going to be the animal communicator, or I'm going to be it's not my role. I get it now. It's taken me a long time.
Yeah.
I'm just supposed to be me.
But I do.
Sorry.
I get when I'm in bed sometimes. I've got a cat at the moment, but I've had cats over the years. I used to live on the farm, so sometimes during snake season they wouldn't all make it.
No.
But sometimes I'm in bed and I'm not asleep yet, and my door's closed and there's no cat in my room, and cat jumps up on the bed and I know that there's no cat there, and I'm like, which one's this? Which one's this? But I know it's one of my cats that are just
just coming to say hi.
Yeah, just coming to say hi.
I mean, my big black dog that we had was the first dog Michael and I had together. She was a Labrador red setter cross, and she was just the most amazing. We got her at 4 weeks, so she was never a dog. She was always our friend, and we were only young, so we just treated her like we went to the beach and she surfed with us. But when we were in the car driving, she used to put her head on slobbery, jowly face on your shoulder. And she still does. She'll come up and she'll put it on my shoulder. But the critter stories, I don't know, there's just so many. Critters actually come back to you so many times, and like your cat. And they tell you, because one of the things I want to teach people is how to talk to their pets with intention, because everyone talks to their pets. Usually the pets are just getting the spillover from the brain, really. But test it out, because our current cat chose us. She's a little healer who's decided to come and live with Michael and I.
Yep.
She was dumped, so she came as this raggedy little thing.
Yep.
But I tested with her, and I've improved my telepathy skills with her. And I actually have a great communication with her. So, it's something that I think we all can do to blend the line between nature and this strict human life that we live. Hey.
Well, it's funny, even with insects and certain insects, I'll try to put that intent into their mind. Like I went camping a long ago, and there was bull ants everywhere, and not much I could do about it. So when I put my tent down, I'm like, okay, guys, can you just stay out of the tent? And I always had a few. I would have had probably anyone. I'd go to sleep and there'd be at least 10 or so inside the tent, but I never got bitten once. They never hassled me. I just just don't. Anything, guys.
Because you don't have a negative attitude towards them. And I was just reading Tracy's comment about the dog. Tracy, you're so right. They come back. They come back in different ways. I read a book that was actually written in 1957. One of the first animal communication books I ever read was about a guy that, same with the ants, he actually got taken on a journey in a time when no one, like you imagine, he was doing this in the 50s.
Yep.
And he got taken on a journey where you got introduced to how worms operate, how they're a community. So many of our critters are communities that we just don't look at. And this book was amazing. And it was one of the pivotal books for me to go on and learn about animals. And animals come back and help animals to leave, like spirit animals come back.
Yep.
It's the same as with humans, especially if there's been a series, I think, of animals living in a home. There will definitely be some representative to take them over the Rainbow Bridge. Yeah. And I just, I think there's so much for us to learn about.
People don't realize how switched on animals are.
Oh,
they just think they're dumb.
No, and they're not. Like friends of ours had a boarding kennel for a long time, and they're beautiful, earthy people went all through homeopathics that, again, and I used to help them, and I just talked to all the critters. Like, they were always good for us because they had such a loving environment.
Yeah.
And we looked after them, the kennels, for about a year while they went around Australia. We were in between places. And they had a really old dog that had kind of been dumped on them. She was a big mix of working dog and staffy, and Jess was beautiful. And she got quite old quickly while we were there. And I just said to her, and usually I use words because it's easy for me to hear, but I just said to Jess, you make sure I know. I'll help you. You make sure I know. And one day she just didn't come down to morning tea, and that was standard. She always came to morning tea.
Yep.
So I called our gorgeous vet, and he helped her. And, she actually stopped her heart beating before the injection really took into her skin. She just kind of got permission to go from the vet being there. And that was listening and helping and hearing. And, it's a gift. I love it. And she was happy. And she told me when she was ready to go. I've had it happen a few times. So it fills my heart that I can do that for a friend. And hear
it's
them.
nice.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. I had that. I had that with my mum was in hospital one time, and she was getting really sick, and she was getting sicker and sicker, and nothing was working, because everyone's telling her fight. And I said, Mum, if you want to go,
you go.
You go when you're ready. Don't worry about what anyone says. You're going to do what you want to do, what you need to do, you feel to do. And she had a dream. She had a dream that day or that night that she was a teenager, and her mum came in and started kicking the side of the bed, saying, "Get out of bed, you lazy bones!" And then she started fighting, and then she got well enough to leave the hospital. So, but it just shows you the choice. It just shows you the choice. I mean, she was just withering away, and she just had no reason. She didn't make that choice. And then once giving the choice, instead of doing what she was told to do, it's probably because she's an Aquarian. They love being told what to do.
I was just reading what Sharon said. Sharon said she's got 2 red cattle dogs and a bluey, and you got a new pup. I've heard that before, Sharon, that the collective, I think of it as a collective of the beings that you've had. Like in this cat that we've got, she's a calico, she's a little grey, I can't think of the right words for it. The little, probably tortoise shell is one of the standard words for that kind of cat, except she's got grey and little pinky musky bits on her and white, and she's cute as. And she actually knows stuff. Like, she'll sniff something that is from a blanket that I bought out from a dog a long time ago, and she's there, and you can see her getting it. Like, they are a collective. I believe they're a collective that have agreed to come and help us, and they maybe transition shapes. And we're just raised to be so bloody human, aren't we?
Yes. With the pets, the food's not negotiable. They want the good food. I think I was on one show with an animal communicator a while back, and they were doing a reading on my cat, and my cat said, "He's a good servant. He's
I know.
he spoils me."
I've had a few. Like I said, I'd love that to have been my journey, because critters
Yep.
really need a voice, don't they? They really need a
Yep.
voice. And I remember going. There was a journey that I took with a Maine Coon cat. Have you met one of them?
No.
They're massive. Like, you see people holding them like this.
Yep.
Really, really big cats. And a lot of people would dump animals on these friends who had the kennels. And this was a full-bred Maine Coon. And so when I was going, Jan just rang me and she said, "I think I've got your next cat," because I was a bit grieving my old cat. And I went to meet this little cat, and I said to the cat, as I arrived there, I got the name popped in my head. And I said to the cat when I was leaving, after deciding I was going to have it, "I've got to go and see Michael." And he just yelled at me. You could hear all the way back up to the office. It was like, "You're meant to be taking me. This was the plan." So he had definitely planned to be with us. But he, God, I've taken myself off track. What were we talking about? Critters and going. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I sidetracked myself.
That's okay. So how did you get into spirituality? Where was it?
It's just been a blending of who I am, because I'm a natural healer. I didn't choose to like pick up cards or do Reiki on people. I've always just chosen to do my healing through my hugs and my love and my guidance, and do it that way. And really, I was probably given no choice to do work with people, because all of the options in the employment world were taken away from me. I'll explain that a little. I can't go and work somewhere that I don't believe in. And there's so many things I don't believe in anymore. I just don't believe in why they're here, because they're like a trap to humanity. And
there's a lot of that.
Heavy. Yeah. And so where I could have previously gone and marketed my services and my skills, I can't. So I just had to be me. I had to grow me. And I do. And alongside that, I've learnt who I am. But, my skills actually come about when they're needed. Does that make sense? Like, I don't sit there and say, I do this or this, because if I was sitting with you and we needed to do something else, then it would be gifted to me for that moment in time. And I couldn't then say, and like I said, it's not marketable. It's not. I'm a.
What do you do? I don't know. I'll tell you when I'm doing it.
I've paid for courses where I can put my own things into like spiritual offerings and heart offerings and all that sort of stuff. And but I just am. So to offset the need to have money here in this earth, because you do.
Yeah.
I actually found cryptocurrency. I'm not going to go there, but I'll just tell you that so much. I really enjoy it. I've learned it. It's fun. It uses my maths head. And so that means that's sitting there and I can do crypto. I call it crypto land. And then over here, I can then allow the work to come in. And so when someone's attracted to me through Facebook or a talk that I do, or because I write for a magazine called Holistic Bliss Magazine, which is amazingly fun. And so just doing stuff, people find me, but I don't market. I can't. It's just, I just be.
Just the universe will point them in your direction.
It's very painful at times, but that's how it works.
Yeah. Oh, I got a time limit here, universe. The universe.
Well, no, I live with somebody who's not as free and easy with that, who thinks that there should be a structure to life. And so there's a balance. We get a balance.
Yep. They're the structure, you're the unstructured.
I am definitely the unstructured person. And that is not always a fun person to live with. I get that. But, but we have a good life. I mean, you know yourself, what do you want out of life? I lead a really blessed life. I have beautiful people around me. I meet lovely people. So I don't know what else I need to do apart from.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, just to get out of that whole mindset was really hard at first of things. Things happiness. Oh, if I won the lottery and I could do this and I could do that, that would make me happy. And then when you really understand what happiness is, it's got nothing to do with it.
It really doesn't. Like, I think of all the beautiful things that I have and that we've done, and people say to you, like, we've traveled. You drove, yes, so you know about driving and all the beauty. I keep getting to tell you about the Nullarbor because when we drove, everyone said, "Oh, the Nullarbor is really boring," and I'm like, I didn't listen, but the Nullarbor is the most amazing, complex, interesting place to go. We just had such a fun time, and it's also boring.
Yeah.
But I never focused on that.
Well, that's it. I'd say to people, I said, "Oh," they'd talk about a town. I go, "Oh yeah, I've been there like 200 times." And then, you know this place? I said, "I wouldn't have a clue what it looks like." And they're like, "What?" I said, "It's at night time. I'm in a truck."
You're in a truck. You're doing it. In a past life, I was a cabin attendant, and people would say that, like, "Where have you been?" I'm like, "You're in a steel tube in the sky, really, or a hotel room." It's not, but no, when you're just driving for your own happy. But no, back to spirituality, it's something that I feel is, okay, this is a deep and meaningful moment. I think spirituality's had a time of being overly promoted, and I really feel that now people are starting to just bed it in, and there's a lot of people who aren't being spiritual per se, and yet they're just here and they're doing their thing and they're not yelling about it and they're just being. And I value that shift because I think it's shifted us from, when we went from new age to new energy, and there's a lot of people still even there, but now with new energy we're moving into whatever that next is. And I think that's what we've been going through, in this last little while, is that shift.
Yeah, preparing
and that
training.
And that energy is just isness. It really is. And it comes there. We probably heaps of quotes already out there about it, but I just feel that.
Well, there's people starting to come through now, and I'm seeing that they have accelerated growth. They're picking things up real quick, and before it took people just like years and years to work out the self and slowly work it out. And I guess but it's at a point now where if the universe can bring you to the right person and go bang, 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 then you get on. It's like, here we go, dust yourself off, get on your merry way. We got you sorted.
But going back to your energy field, if you carry everything in your energy field, and one time I was lying in bed and I asked my team, how big's my energy field? And they go, how big do you think it is? They didn't use words, that, but it was a feeling of show me what you think. And I sort of pushed it geographically where I was, and they're just like, way big. So if every single thing that you hold true and with love is in your energy field, then I reckon someone's just got to pass by your energy, overlap it, for them to catch it, especially these new people. And so I just intend that happens. And for me to be able to just allow my energy freely out there to infiltrate the earth, I love it. I don't think people need teachers so much. I think that these new kids coming just kind of like glean stuff really quickly. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I guess, like, you pick up your people's energies, and I mean, I've been in areas where someone's been really negative. I've gone into the next room, and then I've raised my vibration, and come back into that room, and it just shuts them right down.
It does. It really does. Just it's who you are. Sharon's just saying pandemic's a blessing in disguise. I agree. I completely agree, because it's allowed people to.
What pandemic?
Yeah, I know. These interesting times, which we won't talk about. But you're right. And the more, so I got a thought of, as I've grown through and carried my energy's always been high. Your energy's high, and people do respond to high energy, sometimes negatively. And they're the people that now empaths are having trouble coping with, because those people are invasive and they do tend to like suck your energy dry. But when you can see them, I used to laugh about it, because people would see your energy and they wouldn't know why they were responding the way they were. But some people instantly responded badly, and they would put on their school mom face with their pursed lips and just look at me like, what is this thing? And I've had a lot of fun with that, because it usually makes me be worse than what I already am. But
well, that's it. People only got three. There's only three real options. People can either try to raise to your energy, move away from you, or pull you down to their energy. That's the only options.
Yep.
So,
and if you allow them to pull you down, then that's your job to see that. Yeah. But no, it's that whole.
Well, you lift your family. Family's really good at that. I tell people, family's really good. Not all of them. I kid. I love my family. I love you all throughout there.
My family don't really know who I am, and I may well have hidden it from them because it was too hard to be me, and coming to Australia has made it easier. But like,
it gets complicated with the religious, if they're strongly religious.
Well, Michael's dad was a vicar, and high, like, really black and white, brimstone-y stuff. And
I was studying to be a pastor at one stage.
But I mean, I think being a pastor, the task is amazing, because it's a shepherd, and it helps. But the way some people categorize it's hard. But also, my dad was Dutch, and my two oldest sisters, very, very strong Dutch women, and they're strong astrological signs as well. I am too. I'm a Scorpio, but I was raised by all of these strong people and all of that religion, so it softened me out, which made me a pleaser. So I had to come back from all of that as well. So leaving the country of our birth, Michael and I both had similar family. He was the youngest. I was the youngest girl in a Catholic family. So, I was the bottom of the pack. Coming away meant we were able to grow. And because families designate you and they hold your designation solidly. They don't grow it, do they?
No.
They just have, and
I think they're doing the right thing.
Yep. And they want to squish you back into that little spot. And no, we need to be lotus flowers. We do.
I mean, just the constrictions around. I mean, just general society. I mean, we look around all the problems at the moment, and knowing what we know now, we could, at an early age, we could fix 99.9% of all those problems that society has. Just in those younger years by doing it right, but they don't want.
But you can, that you can rewrite that script.
I'm trying to unlearn it. I'm trying to reprogram. Timelines. Tell us about timelines.
Well, I had fun with one situation, and this taught me a lot, and that's how I learn. I learn anecdotally, and something happened that really was horrible, and I was angry, and I don't actually even recall what it was now. It hung about me and it changed me and I wasn't happy. And then I looked at it and I thought, that's really dumb. Like, I don't want to hang on to that stuff. So I went through and I actually did a new movie in my head. That was what was given to me to do.
Yep.
I did a new movie where it landed differently. I couldn't go too different because my brain wouldn't accept it, but I just put a nicer feeling over it, and it just went away. It just left me. I didn't have those feelings anymore. I didn't have the angst. And I thought, holy shit, excuse me, we can do this. And that was why they were showing me, my team was showing me, I call my source my team, if anyone's wondering. They were showing me that you can rewrite your script. You don't have to like have it the way you think it was, because it's actually only the way you think it was. Really.
So
like it's how
that makes sense.
Right, and I'm not saying that it's simple. Don't let me say it, oversimplify it. For me, those things are, because I really like having the rose-colored glasses look, so I can write a happy story quite easily. And for some people, that's harder. So you do it with friends, you do it with someone you love and you trust, but you just write a new story and park it where the old one was, and or the meditation that I'm putting together. A lot of people will get it just by this. You just sit inside a little in your mindscape and you ask your guidance to show you where this is affecting you. And it could be now, it could be any time on your, anywhere. It could be anywhere in the lives that you've lived before. I've been taken to all sorts of places, and I don't quantify them when I go there, or when I'm taking someone there. I don't go, oh, we're in blah, blah, or 1600 or whatever it is. I just go, so here's where it started. Here's where it's affecting the wholeness of you now. So how can we shine that off, or how can we diminish it? How can we heal the gap? How can we just make it so as that it's a smooth timeline now, and not like not a hump or a dusty mark. And usually when you just play with it, if you're a mindscape person and you just play with it, you can actually the tools are given to you in your dreamscape. You can just grab a cloth and rub it, or drop love bubbles into it to dissolve it, and just play with it. Make it yours and play with it. There will be a meditation that I make about it, which will be more graphic. But that it's given to you to heal. Like if you've been gifted that information and you're here now listening to the way that you can actually go on your timeline and shift it, then that information's been given to you so that you can use it to heal something that's holding you back. But I can't say often enough, don't unwrap it. Don't climb into it. Don't over quantify it. Just look at the smudgy mark and go, oh no, we'll clean that off. Or, I mean, I've done all sorts of, I'm very graphic. So I just, some people just get a dusting cloth and dust it. It's really not hard, and it changes everything that you don't actually know about. And then all of a sudden
so you do that while you're in the dream state, or just in the meditation while you're visualizing it?
I'll take myself into a dreamscape. I don't go deep when I do something like that. But with a client, we'll just work it together. And I don't think you have to go really deep or something like that. I think I generally find that when I'm with someone, whether it's digital like this or personally, that they're able to speak to me and also do it at the same time. So it's quite easy. It's because you've been taken to the right place. But I still think people can just do it. Like, it's nice sometimes to have someone walk you through it and expand on it and, like transform it. But we're at a place where we are healing this stuff from, it's our job right now not to take some of this blicky stuff forward, hey? Like to to neutralize it. And it is a mission, like to neutralize stuff, not to hate it and not to overlove it, just to neutralize the stuff that doesn't need to impact people. Neutralizing is a good word.
Neutralizing. Because I hear people talking about that, saying that we got to clean all that past up before we shift. So that a lot of that dirt can keep us from, I guess, stop us from shifting.
I know, and I think that's also shifting, but I really, really get annoyed at people who make you look at it. I just think you don't have to. I truly, at different times, I've done some big shifts, and I remember seeing something that looked like, in my mindscape, somebody had dropped hot acid on an area, and it was like my timeline was melting. And I had to pick that up, and I've done that with other people too, where because I'm gifted with the picture that they've got at the time that we're working together, I can help heal. And I look at some of those spots and I think, if we unwrap that could just be nasty. And why does it need to be looked at? Why do you need to
relive that pain?
It's like it's unnecessary. You're given the option to neutralize it, and neutralizing it's all you need to do. You don't have to unwrap it and go, when I was a lady that I and I don't have to say who, why, or what. I didn't know her, and she was put in front of me quite quickly one day to help. And so I was just doing timeline stuff with her, and I got taken forward, way forward, like we knew we had just gone light years forward, and we healed something. And afterwards, when we were chatting, because I just helped her, she just needed some help and I helped. Afterwards, I found out that she'd had a very violent kind of upbringing, and heaps of people had taken her back. Now, I mean, why would you do that to somebody? But they'd taken her back into it to fix it. But what we did was we went to some place that was totally unrelated. And I'm not saying this will always work or it will do it like that, but we went there and we dissolved something way down the line that actually you could feel her heart shift. She was feeling better from it. So, yeah, it's fun. I have such a full heart from the work I do on that. I really do. It's special. And outcomes are,
I guess you don't always have to sand it back to bare metal. You can just sometimes just spray over the top.
Absolutely. That's the thing. Like, in your mindscape, you're making the rules. There's no, I suppose the only time you really may make it hard is if you're holding on too tightly to human designations, you know, when you can
what about, you know, how when people, they've got, like, I've met people and they'll say from this age to that age, you know, I've met someone that said that from the age, they don't remember anything in their life at all before the age of 16. You know, what do you do with a situation like that?
When you've got,
you know, they've buried trauma there.
That part of it, to actually find that means you've gone back to it, like in the not remembering.
Yeah.
I mean, myself, I know that there's places, because I've chosen to find that there's places where I had trauma, and trauma is different for everyone. Like, somebody could have just been told harshly something, but because they're really sensitive, that harshness was too much. So it depends on how you unwrap it. And as far as work like that is concerned, I will always take someone forward. It may not be my task to work with that person, but I will move forward and work on the timeline forward. And that was the gift to me that I was given on the timeline work. Because I think to actually find something nasty in your past life, the person would have known that there was something a little bit nasty for them not to remember, hey?
Yeah.
A little bit. And that can be deep. Like, you can't be light about something like that. That's really deep. But sorry, I'm just looking at where was it? Sharon, you're just saying her dad was a Kiwi. Yeah, it's a free spirit. Oops. Oh, and Amanda, I agree. You can't, the pain, and that's really what we're saying. Sorry, I was being a bit sidetracked
that's
by
right.
reading. No memory before 12. Oh, cool. Did you just manage to do that? That's awesome.
Yep.
There's times when it's not my place to help someone, and I really ask my team not to put me where I can't officially help, because there's people who need more than me. Like my work is generally done with people who want to move forward from, I don't know how to describe it, just little bits of stuff. But when somebody's had big trauma, the times that I've helped people like that, it's been quietly and gently, and we just move ahead, but we haven't necessarily gone into the why. And I think that's the secret. I know I might be repeating myself, but I think that's the secret.
Yeah. Why'd you go? I mean, they, old poo raked up spells worse.
It does.
Why do you need to break the whole thing up?
I remember a while back someone was saying, every woman, it's probably 10 years or more, every woman, this percentage of every woman being molested, whatever. I look at it and I go, just stop it. Just stop it. I mean, I worked for a guy that was horrid. He was really horrid. That was the last job I had in New Zealand. And I could dwell on that, but I had to learn to handle it. I had an experience that bedded in my psyche, helped me with people that I've met. I've been able to discuss it. There's all sorts of things, and me, the person that is me, uses them as ways to help people, ways to share who I am, ways to provide examples, I suppose. But yeah, you can't. There's
blame. It's the old. I guess it's the blame. You know what I mean? Put the onus on someone else.
And we're coming out of I have a big my little soapbox stand about the sexuality and the overt masculinity of that. And I look at the things. Okay, there's so much raw sexuality being used in ads, in so much stuff, and I'm like, over on one side, there's people saying, all these men are doing wrong things and they're selling people and they're being pedophiles and they're doing all that. But then over here, there's people who are still using raw sexuality to promote. Until we blend that, so that it doesn't take, the sexy female object, when you can lift that away and just have a different way of marketing, you can see how deep that can get. Hey, and I
think just use it. They just leave it to manipulate to suit their purposes.
Yeah, and that's part of what we need to do is to blend that out, to blend it out, and I help a lot of people with that, because when you're have we gone off topic?
Yeah, it's right.
It stops a lot of people from growing, and I think that's really where I was headed with this, because it was put in my head. I'm like, why are we talking about this? I had a lot of training on visualness, especially being a cabin attendant, and the work that I've done and the front up work that I've done corporately. A lot of training was on visual and on size and on who you are. So if you have to get over all of that before you can be spiritual, that's just annoying. Whereas if you can blend out all that stuff, neutralize it, then you can be spiritual, you can find more about yourself, and you can grow more into just seeing why all that happened rather than making it who you are.
Yeah.
So
well, I think we do that. We sometimes I do feel that we make it too complicated fixing ourselves. in the spiritual community. We overdo
do.
it. I mean, sometimes there's something does really need surgery, but generally you just change your diet a bit, and it'll stop to be a problem.
No, and that's exactly it. But in our world of competition, instead of co-creation and collaboration, then even inside the vehicle that is Facebook, and inside of all of the places where people market themselves, everyone has to find a point of difference. Everyone has to find this new niche marketing term. Everyone, like, that's what people are being trained, and it's such an old system. It needs shifting. It really does. Because as soon as someone just simply shines, then the world creates a place for that shine. And
people,
the shine
will be
fits,
drawn to it.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. So that's how I choose to operate, and how I work with people.
I mean, I do a lot of production work, and I don't do it so everyone look at me. I just enjoy doing it, and I get off on just watching it myself. I just love it. I just love doing it. I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. I love it. And I'll do a video or something, or an advert, and I'll watch it like 20 times. I'll be like, man, that's tripping me out. I just
that was cool.
Myself.
You had fun. Hey, you had fun. Yeah, and that, to me, like, we've done some amazing stuff just to have fun. I'm going to go down another little pathway. One of the jobs we got managing accommodation was in a sort of a B&B place that it was high-end couple accommodation in the country with llamas and cows and chooks. And the llamas are the most amazing creatures. They are highly spiritual. Have you ever met one?
Haven't spent a great deal with them.
They're a bit rarer than alpacas. They're like a llama. They feel community driven. They know straight away if they don't want to talk to somebody, and they won't. And they just hum with the earth, and they're so together, and they hold such an air of spirituality, really. So if you ever have a chance to spend some time with them. But that was another amazing period of time, just being with them in the country, just actually letting them see that there's humans that will speak to them, and getting them as really large critters. Because
they got that look. They look straight at you. They're like, they got that look.
Totally got you in a less than a nanosecond. They've totally got you. They're not like a dog. They're not there to please. They're not gonna do anything.
Yeah, they're gonna like, what?
Yep. And
what?
And they don't actually spit at you unless you annoy them. But they're not very good at wind, so they might spit that way, and the wind's blowing that way. So but if they don't want to meet a guest that's there, or if they don't want to be handled, once you put a lead on them and everything, they were good. But if they were just free in the paddock and they didn't want to talk to someone, they would do that thing. They would just
not interested.
I love it. No.
Turn and roll the eyes.
Dear.
So changing timelines. So do you have meditations already set up for that, or do you have to do a private session with you?
Usually, it's a one-on-one. That's what I've been working with so far. But I'm trying to depersonalize it enough so that it's a good meditation, and that somebody can actually take it their way. And it takes a little bit, because when you're with someone one-on-one, you can follow what they're doing. You can just take the journey where that goes. But I think more people need it, and that's why I thought a meditation would work. But also doing it with someone, like working one-on-one with someone on timelines, it's more beneficial for them if someone needs to move somewhere. Like if they
like a ton of work, that spiritual work that you do, if you can do that one-on-one, like readings, healings, and all that. People don't. I mean, a lot of people get it online, but they don't realise that when you do a private session, how much more in depth and how much more specific you can go.
I mean, I have these beautiful Anahata codes that I use to help people transform as well, and they land in your heart library. They are a transformation code, and they just land. So when I'm working with someone one-on-one, we might have booked a space to do like maybe timeline work, or there's another one that I call a brain massage. But anything happens. No, it's really awesome. They're gifted to me. It's so much fun. I get gifted this information, and then I have to human it a little bit, like English it. And the brain massage is just a stunning relaxation session. And all around when I'm working with someone is the codes. So say if we intuited a code, it lands in your heart library, and that actually opens up the new information. That's a massive step for people. So I do cards if they're called for. And there's soul transformation work that we do, which is a process.
Yep. How does that work?
I'm not used to talking. It's all very, again, one-on-one personal.
Yep.
And I've done it with groups, and group energy is amazing for it. And it's just a matter of saying, very simply say goodbye to the old and welcome in the new. But when we do it, it's actually encased in so much wonder that you move through. You can see stuff leaving. You can just see stuff leaving and stuff coming. I don't know if have you done work like that before?
I think that not group work. I mean, I did I've done group meditations and sound baths, and they're tripped out, where the whole group will go into, you go into like a theta state. So you'll be there for an hour, and it will seem like 5-10 minutes.
No.
And you're conscious the whole time. And people don't understand. They're like, what? And I'm like, because it's happened a few times. Like angelic healing, I've had that same thing happen to me. Certain meditations that you're like, that was 5 minutes, and it's like, no, that was an hour.
It's just intense. I had a beautiful lady from Scotland do a gong bath meditation inside the Facebook group, and I love the gong bath. I just shove my earplugs in, and I just be there. And like you say, you're just there. But the work that I like to pull together within my work with one-on-one is whatever actually helps that person to move through. So if it means we start with a brain massage, and I just saw that, Amanda, it just gets you to a place where the everyday falls away, and it's the quickest way I've taken somebody to just a beautiful space of nothing, of just sitting still. And then we really can do some soul transformation work. It just takes you to there. But a lot of it, Brooke, it's guided at the time. That's what I can't.
Yeah.
It just happens. I get a whole feeling, and I do that, and it's done. And it may not be done that way ever again, but you've got to start somewhere. So we start with maybe installing codes, or working with the timeline work, and all of it. I think underneath it runs the other work, like there's work that if ever you make a booking to go and see someone for a one-on-one, your guidance has led you there. Your guidance is waiting for you to get there. And like everything's prepared. And when that happens, it doesn't matter whether it's me or someone else. I'm then just the conduit for that work. That's my job. That's the conduit. Yeah. And
exactly, like whatever they turn up for, the guides will say, well, this is what we need to do now.
Yeah. I recently I've been getting a little thing to find an iridologist for my next, whatever I need next. Because for me, that kind of work and Bowen therapy, that they're very spiritually shifting tasks. and I hadn't found anyone. Well, actually I did, but she was a bit rich for me. I'm like, I do not need to do one appointment for $350. That was just a little bit over the top. So I decided that I would sit back and allow the team to bring me somebody with a different understanding of normal costs. So, and she's arrived and I've made an appointment and I'm going to see her, but she's already got me. Like, she already got given me. And she said that she felt free enough to say, I've already had insight into who you are. And that's how it's supposed to work.
Yep.
She's been gifted that information. I didn't tell her it. She's been gifted it. And I love that. I love that we're getting to that place where practitioners can be given and people can acknowledge it and believe it. Yeah. So now it's cool.
Well, it's amazing. So some people get up in arms about all sorts of stuff. Like, I make these. These are quite expensive to buy because they take a lot of time on the individual. But I've made more for free and given them to people I've felt like they've needed one than I've had people buy them. And, it's just, there's no, when the universe says, hey, look, we need this for that person, or what about that for that person, you just go and do it.
You just do it. That's what we were talking about, crystals. I've bought crystals, they've arrived to me, and they leave as well. Like, I don't sell crystals. That's not part of my journey. But if somebody's walking past where I house my crystals and I'm called to it or they're called to it, they take it because that crystal's got the journey for them next. That's how.
I had someone over, and I think it was the first bit of quartz that I had, and it fell on my foot. And I think the quartz, because this person was new to spiritualism, and I thought the quartz was like, yeah, well, you never liked me anyway. You don't spend any time with me. And I'm like, yeah, there you go.
And some of them just decide not. I had some of the most amazing pieces that I bought from rock shops, like not crystal shops per se. And after about 4 or 5 years, I go and touch them, or I've usually sit them on a stand or something because I had some beautiful big ones. And they just don't want to be together anymore. So they become 4 pieces instead of 1. And so I'm like, okay, you've got a different journey. They end up going to somebody to work with. I keep getting told to talk about snowflake obsidian. There must be someone who's got a teenager. Snowflake obsidian's the most amazing stone for teenagers and for people who maybe are just awakening. I always think of it as Metatron, Archangel Metatron inside of that. That's my Metatron reminder. But I don't have any anymore because I keep giving it away. But it does encourage, I don't use the word protection that much, but it actually does help them through those bad dream parts and the awakening. All the there's a bit of uckiness in waking up sometimes with the graphics and the visions and so oops, is that my temperature? Did you hear that noise? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Cool. I think it's going on low. Hang on, I'll plug myself in. I don't want it to go off on us. Or shall I try it just with the...
Oh, it's up to you.
Well, if it turns off, it turns off. You know that. And then I'll just
you haven't cut out at all.
That's cool.
You haven't cut out at all. So you've got a Facebook group? What's
I do. Some gorgeous person, Staffy, just put it up in the
okay.
Yeah, I'm going to try turning this off and just using my speaker and hope there's no feedback. You want to check it? Because I think it's going to go. Hang on a second. I'll just it was. Are we back? Have you got the speaker?
No, it sounds good.
Hear me?
I can hear you.
Uh-oh.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
You got me now?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Oh, you know why? Because I hadn't turned this off.
Just plugged it out.
Speak again. Go on.
Hello.
There you go. I can hear you now. Sorry. I'm not doing feedback or anything. This is just...
a little bit echo.
Is it right?
Yep.
Cool. It was just going to die. It was flashing really badly. So I'm just looking at that. I was just reading that in the private chat.
So what do you train people in? Do you train people in anything in particular? Or do you just help assist them?
One of the biggest things that I work with on people, and if you talk about training, is really this, it's just to live here well. You know how we were talking about spirituality being a bit overdone, if you like. It's a little bit. And people forget that they do have to live here on earth. And if you live here well, it's not scary, like it's not horrible. And it can be very flowing and ease, can't it? Just to actually allow stuff to be. And that's really one of my biggest things, is allowing, is showing someone where they're blocking the flow in their life. That's something I really enjoy doing. And then we get down to nitty gritty. We get all sorts of information. Again, clear conduit, we get all that work. But I've lived through getting to be healthy as a spiritual being here on earth. And I look at what people are doing and help them find a better way to live. Because you know yourself, the choices that you make about food. Oh, I'm not going to sit here and say somebody should be a vegan or this or that. But I'm saying you should choose well. You should choose what your body wants to eat. And if you don't, then you're actually blocking a whole heap of other stuff as well. I think it gets down to how you live here.
Well, I'm a vegan until I order pizza, real cheese.
I spent 20 years as a vegetarian, and I'd find it quite easy to be a vegan, but my body suddenly said, I want animal protein. And I'm like, really? Truly?
Yeah.
So I have a bit of animal protein every now and then, but I don't really want to eat my friends. So, but I live with a carnivore too. So,
yes. Yeah, no, people have got to get away from the judgment. They listen to their body and just try to make a healthy choice.
They do. But again, so many people are saying how you should live. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat.
I like the high vibrational diet. And
I know. Do you know that one of the, I'll go off on that tangent. I have a soapbox stand about food as well. I hear people say, oh, I can't eat that, it's this, or I can't eat that, it's that. And they'll be eating something and being guilty about it, putting weight on or whatever. Choose to eat with love. Work your way towards it. That's the biggest thing you could do, is not sit in front of TV eating. I know you'd have to wean yourself off that, a lot of people. But actually, when you're looking at food, when you're making food, when you're stirring something, when you're cutting something, don't be doing it with angry thoughts. Don't be doing it with yelling or with anything like that. If you come back to it, just try and pull yourself in and just aim it with love. I was visiting a friend, and she was being annoyed about something, and she was making us a cacao, and she was stirring this cacao with the energy of her annoyance. And I'm like, hold it. We're going to be eating that, like, can you just back off and stir with love?
Yeah.
She took it because she's a friend.
Yeah. And more chili.
And if you really want to eat something, you like pizza, just have some. Don't add guilt to it. Guilt is dumb. It's dumb.
Oh, no. I mean, I got over it because I've got, you know, these people that, you're killing animals and you have to, and all this and all that. And I just had to make some changes to my diet. So I tried to eat better. And then I went from vegetarian to vegan. And now 95%, 99% of what I eat is vegan. But I'll still have like something with, I say, like cheese. I've got a friend that I'll go over their place, and a few times a year I'll have meat. I'm like, I'm not that fast.
The thing that I look at is how you're doing it. I was just looking at what Emma said, make coffee with vibration. Yeah, it's your vibration that makes the food right. I I remember there's a few occasions that have made me realize that it's the love that makes the difference. I mean, that's obvious, of course.
Yeah.
But we were being interviewed for a job managing one of those tourist parks where families come with their kids and all the awesome stuff's there for the kids.
Yep.
And they wanted to know that, of course, we were going to be. So they gave us lunch while we were there. And I have always made good food. And this particular lunch involved white bread with square cheese, square ham, and tomato, and I think margarine, things that my body doesn't know anymore.
Old
And
standard.
I just said to my body, get over it. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to pontificate about anything like that there because it wasn't loving, because they were giving us lunch.
Yeah.
You know, so I ate, not very much, but I ate with love. And I said to my body, it's okay. You can recycle it quickly. That's fine. You know, don't have to hold on to this stuff. Because to me, that's not food. To me, food is my sourdough bread that I make.
Yeah.
And I make stuff with love. And even if we get takeaways, I do it with love. But it's a choice. If someone makes you something with love,
Yep.
you can't unlovingly go, oh, no, I can't eat that. Yeah. I mean, if they know you, they're not going to make you eat pig or cow or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But if they don't know you and they've created food for you with love, to me, it was just so wrong I just work my way around it. I don't make statements. Yeah.
I mean, there's been so many highly spiritual, different, groups of people around the world that have had all different diets, and it worked for them.
Oh,
so,
it's just who you are. I mean, I have a red wine just about every night. That's my standard. And I've got a coffee machine, and I also grow vegetables and, you know, live a really good life.
Yep.
A long time ago, a natural practitioner said to me, eat the very best you can, drink the very best coffee, drink the very best, whatever you can, have the best of it. And then I added
have the best mud cake.
and the best mud cake. Best. But those fundamentals make who you are. Like, if you're following a trend because it's a trend and it doesn't fit you, then how can you be you?
People are so programmed this day and age, they wouldn't have a clue who they are.
No.
They can't differentiate between their subconscious and running their show. They can't differentiate between their ego, telling them what to do, and it's sad.
It is. And it's the cacophony, when you can move the cacophony away just a little bit. And that's like a walk on the beach. You don't have to make it hard. Just stop and go out on the grass. There's so many little things. And it's funny, I've written so many articles about little things, and I think people are still reading them because they don't get. But I think, Brooke, it's because there's so much over-the-top information that comes in. Like, you really need to go to this to get that, you know. And personally, I don't want to anymore. I just want to commune. I just be. Like, I'll go for a bike ride around the lake, and I'll be talking to the water while I'm riding. So it's connection, just learning your way to connect.
Yeah, well, it can be very simple and very hard. I mean, a lot of people go there and they get into spirituality, and then there's so much stuff to do, and then by the time they learn it all, it's, you know, the next step is, what do I need to learn now? You need to learn how to let go of all that crap that you just learned.
Just get rid of all that stuff. Shiny object moment. And I mean, I'm guilty of that as well. I love learning the next thing, but I also know the absolute simplicity is watching something. I've got we've got lots of spiders around because we don't spray anything. So we have lots of critters. And out on the line at night on our clothesline, a brown orb spider puts her web up. I don't know if anyone knows. these spiders, and they just, if you don't know, these spiders, they put up their web at night and they take it down in the morning. And she had her babies, and they were just all hanging up underneath one of the rungs of the clothesline, not the line, but the metal bit.
Yep.
And I mean, that was just a joy for me. But then the hard part about it is that they eat each other. That's how the babies survive. So I don't know how many.
Okay. Yeah. No, I've got one outside at the moment that does the same thing.
And they have a big nest. And I mean, that to me, the joy of going out, and every now and then I'll just take the torch outside and shine it on her, and she's made her web on an angle, and then she hangs on the outside of it, so the web is concave. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Boom! I'm just being natural.
Well, I got one that when I walk through, it's learned to not put the web through to the table that goes around, so I can go do what I need to do without disturbing it. It's learned that.
Is that a big golden orb? They're usually the ones that
it's one of those orbs, but it's got red legs on it. It's got like red.
I think that, I don't know. Yeah, that's a different one again. But yeah, they do. They're really clever.
Yeah.
And I've seen it quite a few times that where Michael's walked through, I remember not going somewhere because there was a spider when I was afraid of spiders, and he just walked through. And he's 6'5", so he cleared her web.
Yeah.
And that's because she was clever. They're just cool. So living here, that was what you said. That's one of the things that people miss. They don't live here. That they serve.
No, they're always off. Yeah, that's it. I mean, they're not. People are so in their head and so in the future and so in the past that they're never in the driver's seat. A lot.
And when 5%
you go, 5% of them at best.
And just sit and watch ants for a while. I mean, they're amazing. They'll take you away. Watch just something. Watch a sea eagle when you're down at the beach. And I was just reading the thing. Yeah, watching them weave is amazing.
Except for those sugar ants. They have an addiction. They're like little druggies, the sugar ants.
I was eating one day I was eating not a persimmon, the one that's got the red orb fruit inside of it, a pomegranate. Yep. And it was not nice. Like, it was just, so I actually took it outside and I gave some to, we've got a parrot here that lives out on our deck, a galah. I gave some to her and I dropped some off into the garden. The ants were just there. It was like a party, a free-for-all. They were picking up these little pomegranate orbs and carrying them away.
Right.
Yeah. So
they're like score.
It just takes you, like, you don't have to be anywhere. That was total entertainment. Total.
Yeah.
I actually wrote.
And there's always one ant by himself on the corner trying to drag one by himself. Just get nowhere.
I wrote and published a whole, when I was going to be a famous children's writer, a whole book on children's poems and activities, just based around the critters that live here, worms and spiders, and I sold quite a few, but it was just another fun thing to do.
It's always fun. Okay, we'll wrap things up. We're almost getting up to the 2-hour mark.
Oh my God, are we talking?
Yeah, it's an hour show. We're good. I know the guy who runs it. He's cool. So
you guys are awesome. The chat's been lovely. I really, really enjoyed.
They're a good crowd. They're a good crowd. They're good people. So if anyone wants to get hold of you, what's the best way? What are you offering? What's the best way of them contacting you?
Facebook Messenger. I pick up all messages.
Yep.
I don't put them away. Yeah.
It's easier, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's simple. That's one of the messenger things I have on my phone as an alert. So I think that's one of the simplest. And Instagram. I'm on Instagram, and you put the links there. And there is a contact point inside my website. but just message. But you don't dive into junk mail on my message. I just answer. Yeah, I'd be happy to chat. And if you're unsure about what I do, just ask me questions. It's cool.
Yep. Yeah, and people, if you haven't gone anywhere, because I know there's some people. Now and then you gotta go and get a private session. Okay, I like every once in a while I'll go and I'll see someone. I'll do a private session somewhere, and I will pay 100, 150 every once. Or I'll go and see a really good reader and pay good money when I need something.
It's something
it can make the world of a difference.
Yep, like I have. I'm tangenting again. I have a Bowen therapy lady. I don't know if you know Bowen. It's an energy system, and she knows that I'm there for spiritual, not physical. So she tweaks the spiritual. And again, with the iridologist, she's one of us. She's a spiritual worker, and that's just her method. So I'm with you. If I need a reading, I'll be directed to someone. Someone to be popped in front of me, and it'll be so darned obvious I've got to go and read with them. So you do. I'm not saying that it should always be expensive, but sometimes, especially when you're growing, you just need that. You need the one-on-one help, and
not just the online stuff, or not just the shows,
and
all that. You need to go private.
And just a quick one though. Regardless of who you're talking to, if you think you can't afford them, you need to say it, and you need to work out a payment plan. There are some of the things that I've done to get where I want to be, is work out payment plans with people. Don't just not do something because you think you can't afford it. If it's shone out to you, follow through, because the shine is what we need to learn to do. Just follow the shine. That's how we grow.
That's it. Just tell the universe, put it back on the universe. Hey, universe, you wanted me.
Yep.
Come on. Help me out here.
You sorted it. Make sure it happens.
That's it. Oh. Okay. It's been wonderful to have you on the show, Linda. I learned so much. And we'll do this again some other time. So don't be a stranger. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for. I'll just check the private chat.
Thank you, guys, and happy Harmony Day, Emma. I didn't know that. I really appreciated your comments and your energy as we've been here chatting. We felt the energy, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been great. So thanks once again. Now I've got to work on the production stuff. Thank you, everyone. I'm just going to get ready. I was speaking too soon. Okay. Thanks, everyone, for coming. We'll see you. I'll run the clip to show you what I'm doing during the week. Okay. So, everyone, bye, Linda.
Bye. See ya.